All right. Welcome, everybody, to the weekly Probate Mastery Group coaching call. This isn't my Zoom backdrop. I actually had to drive I'm in Marlinton, West Virginia, near my home. Who hasn't heard this? I grew up in the only radio quiet left in the world. The Green Bank Observatory is the radio astronomy observatory is here. So this is the one cell tower in the entire county, and it's about a quarter-mile range. So I came down and I was like, I'll just make the call from the river. So you guys, we're on the river today. For everybody on Facebook, this is the first time that we've actually broadcast this into the group Probate Mastery Alumni. Just be aware if you're interacting on Facebook, those messages don't come through to us as moderating. So keeping an eye on it, and she'll do her best to relay your questions over. If you want to interact and you want to speak, obviously you need to click the Zoom link. But anyone who wants to jump in, please do it anytime. That's the fun of these calls. They are a group discussion, and it's a lot more fun than just hearing me talk to myself. There's a bit of a theme today. So we're still settling into what these calls, how to get the most value out of these calls. And Kat and I have had a fun debate going for, 5 years about scripts. And that's what we want to talk about. You guys have heard me say that I love the quote. Zig Ziglar has a quote: timid salespeople have skinny kids. And I believe scripts build timid salespeople. And I believe that a conversation framework and knowing what information you need and having some questions on deck to ask to get that information is the best methodology. The interesting thing is when I look at the Probate Mastery exit surveys of the 49 people who have taken the new course, every single one of you guys said, we see value in learning that way and would choose that. However, it's a valid debate. People who are not in this space and have not had the course do think they need a script. So that's a topic that I would like to throw out there and hear the opinions. David Pinnell, thanks for being here, man. I know you have worked with you when you first got started in this. You had an office of ISAs and tried scripting there. And I want to hear if I do need to be writing scripts or a different type of conversation framework. I want to hear from you guys what you feel like you need. If it's a role play, if it's video, if it's written, if it's in book form or a PDF, whatever. So that's a theme that I wanted to cover today, just so I can make sure that your needs are met and what scripts actually mean to you, rather than just agreeing with me in a survey. Let's have a discussion about it. Like, do you think they serve you? And how, is it bullet points or is it a specific script? And anyone else who has written their own scripts and had success with it or trained ISAs with your scripts, please step and join that discussion. So I'll shut up now. Anyone who wants to jump.
Yeah, man, I think mastery is the ultimate mastery of real estate. It's not, you can't just jump into this if you're a new agent. You really can't. You probably can and fumble your way around until you get someone to say yes to you, and that's the goal. But I think probate really comes down to the mastery of the communication, their perspective. What are they going through? What is their solution? What is their problem? Because no conversation over the last, I've done 70 deals so far in probate, probably 72 now. And they're not the same. It's a complete different story, different errors, different title problems. And it's just.
And usually your assumptions are wrong. Would you agree, David? Like, a lot of people try to deduce
100%.
People try to deduce the story and what their needs are by looking at a spreadsheet. And it's just not the best way to do that is through an organic conversation. But David, I'm curious, Kat and I, we actually brought you up this morning. I'm curious, when you had 4 ISAs, right? Like your outbound call team?
And we went through 16 people.
Okay.
16.
And I know at one point you transcribed all of the role play calls that we did at all the leads and tried to build script books. So let's talk about that. Like, where did you have success? Why didn't it work, or where did it work?
I found the softer approach got us in the door more. And I don't know if I said it last time, but I have a painter here now at my house, and he put I paint fences on his truck because he's out in the country in Hazel, Texas. So people will call him because obviously everybody has a fence to paint. He says once he got in the door of painting their fence, he got in the door to paint their house, and they'd call him for years to paint things. So I think it's the same difference. The one that for the new people, call them probate. Instead of jumping into conversation, I could help you buy or sell your house. I think the thing that works for us is having that resume book and saying, hey, may I send you something to prove that I am legit? And that's what a letter does too, but typically you're sending 4 to 5 letters to prove your point. If you just get on the phone and ask for that permission to send them something, they're going to say no, or they're going to say maybe. They're going to say, I don't have time to sell the house right now.
What do you think? And I'm gonna put you on the spot and ask you, what is the primary thing, the primary tool, or the primary source of information that helped you build your effective language in working with these people? Was it role plays? Was it just experience falling on your face? Was it probate mastery?
Yeah, all the above. I have 22 books that I bought from Amazon. I've read through them. I haven't read them all. I don't think you need. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it to y'all. You don't need any probate experience to do what I'm doing. I thought I bought 22 books. I went through Chad's course. I have a general sense of it, but I have an assistant that I have a TC that knows how to get through a transaction, and I have a title company that knows how to get the documents correct or the title fixed if there's an issue. All I'm doing is going to the appointment and seeing what they need. When I get the appointment, do they want to sell a house? Do they want to list it? What is the easiest solution to what they're trying to solve? And then I'm figuring out how many heirs they are. Do they have the letters of testamentary? Do they have what I need to move forward?
Rosie, I see you drinking your Starbucks. Pinky out. That's important. So Rosie has been training fresh VAs out of the Philippines. And I know you guys have had your little, it's a bit of a covert project, but you found some success. And I know you guys have worked on scripts. Tell us about how easy it was or how hard it was, what your results are compared to what you wish they would have been or hope they had been. Tell us about your experience in training somebody who has no experience here to get on the phones and do this for you.
Okay, so I'll go first. Thank you. Hi, David.
Hey.
I've heard great things about you. I love what you're doing.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I saw your post too. So
I try to stay relevant. Okay, thank you, Chad. Okay, so with VAs, we can overthink it, but it was not that hard, to be honest. Because quite frankly, I knew I was not the first person doing it. Other people have done it before me. So if it was not to be done, somewhere I was getting in the way of it. So that was the mindset I went after it. And when we train VAs, Chad, as you may know, we're working on a project on the back end. We are working together with some few partners. I'll speak from my side. First of all, interviewing, I do have a lot of access to VAs because 5 of my admin staff is VAs. And they've been working with me for over 3 years now. And through my relationships with them, these people are very well connected. So they allow me to really tap into the right talent. So we interviewed people, and luckily we found a few candidates who were used to calling for other investors before. So they were used to the idea of setting an appointment for someone to come buy the property. My experience has been with VAs that, how do I say it in the easiest way possible? We come from a prospecting start of the real estate business. So to hit a DNC call, to get somebody mad at us, somebody leave a bad review, doesn't shake our world. We understand that could happen. We just figure out how to bounce back. And luckily, my husband and I work together. He's very gentle with his words and he knows how to handle it. So the real success came in when we worked with VAs and I gave them $999 dialer to dial the leads out. A lot of people are like, I don't want to call the probate leads with $999 dialer. But we measure numbers. When a VA is dialing and you have a dialing experience, you're giving them a list to call. There has to be X amount of pickup rate and X amount of conversations that pop out from the calling. And if it's not happening, then we need to listen to the recordings to understand if it is a script issue or a system issue. So in our latest conversations, when Roger jumped into with our VAs, we have made the script shorter. We are ready to get to the point. Like when we're on the phone, we don't want to, the one thing, Chad, you said is that right now, too many people are muddying the water. Too many people are calling these people. So they don't know who we are. So Roger just came up with a very simple script. Hey, this is Rosie here from the Hair Group. We're a local probate specialist. We specialize in helping people make the best decision around real estate. So we were wondering, are you planning on keeping the real estate that you have or you want to sell it based on the tonality? If somebody was like, what you want? So we trained our VAs to come up with a straightforward answer like that. And other people, we use the approach of what has been the hardest thing for you in the process. And I am...
Interject. So you mentioned some metrics, and the 2 metrics you mentioned were contact rates and conversion rate. So using that script, like that's the best one you found. What are your contact rates and what are your conversion rates?
We are getting a 15 to 20% pickup rate. That's a really good pickup rate. I'm used to 7% pickup rate, like when we dial other types of leads. So 15 to 20% is a really good conversation rate we're getting. And please everybody mind it, we're only having our VA dial for us 8 hours a week. That's nothing. That's literally 2 hours a day, okay? Wow. And I am getting minimum 2 to 3 phone appointments a week.
Okay. Off of how many contacts?
How many contacts? When I pick up the phone, almost 95% pickup rate. Like when she sets
No. So that 20% represents how many leads? Like how many?
20% pickup rate in a week leads to 3 phone appointments.
Right. Is that starting with 100 leads or with 300?
I would 150 to 100 to 150 leads to start. So whatever list she dials, what we did
150, she speaks to 40, and
Yeah.
you get three appointments out of 40 conversations.
Yes,
That's
right.
phenomenal.
That's phenomenal. Actually, I love the pickup rate on probate.
Good.
Thank you. And actually, I'm in the middle. The phone I was on with was a probate flip we are buying. So David, I want you to tell me how you do your business so stress-free. You look so relaxed. I want to get there. So teach me, how do you make that phone call? I want to buy your house quicker. So long story short, that's what the VA is. Look, here's the thing. I'm not expecting much out of my VA. All I want someone is to constantly put my name out there and keep me relevant. Rest is my responsibility as a business to create marketing material to make my VA look good and make sure when I speak with an appointment, I'm giving them enough options to act, sell, buy, sub to, whatever it is. And I'm a learning student from here.
Thank you for that. Like you're thanks for sharing a phenomenal result. Steve Carney, I'm muting you, sir. One thing I want to ask, you've been an ambassador, not only a follower, but an ambassador, and really offered a lot of contribution into this community. What do you feel like we could do for you? Like in this specific part of the conversation, what can we do to help you or your VAs be stronger prospectors?
Oh my God, I wasn't even expecting that. That's so sweet to say that. I would love for y'all's input in figuring out what is the most relevant message that the leads need to hear in today's market, because we are not in the same market as we were a year ago. Quite frankly, we have all kind of people here. Chad, let's be honest. Right now, when the moratorium has been extended, these probate leads are getting called by investors. I'm an investor too. I became one. And because that's where the market is at, there's no hate of a realtor or investor. We are fishing in the same pond, right? So I would love to know what kind of marketing message can be created to distinguish ourselves and the message sounds relevant with what's happening right now. So people don't have an option to stall behind complexity. Because another thing I'm realizing is that these people, like the probate deal we are doing right now, it's in foreclosure. We had to literally wake up an angry son who was mad at his parents to get the deal, right? We gave him what he wanted, but I would love to know how to cut through the noise to make sure we look like a option for someone that, look, you're not only one way with us. We're not here to just buy your property pennies for dollars and you're not here to give it away. You have a spectrum of choices. What's best for you? So
you've got to be able to be found. I really think so. It's fun to make the calls, but be found. Just so you focus on learning some of the YouTube video stuff where you making a 1 to 2 minute video of a probate topic. Make it short and sweet so they can watch it on their feed, or a real quick tip or something. But make them 2 to 3 a week. I'm telling you to do this. I need to do it myself. Like that article, Chad's, oh, you're a great writer. I have to tell you, Chad, I didn't write that. At least I won anyways.
Now
I have a writer that writes me. I have a writer that writes me topics for my so I just had them write me the article. And so it cost me $200 plus donate the 200. So, but it's that's how you're found though. When Chad posts something like that, hey, so that now that article is going to be on his website. And I actually got a call from a agent in Virginia, not based on that article, but just because of our past interviews with Chad. And maybe y'all do a video with Chad that is posted on your YouTube. That position. So the word is positioning, not found. Okay. So you got to position yourself to be found. And Chad didn't have to do those 2 videos with me, but I get so much contact from that. And I got a referral. I got a referral on Thursday for a listing, but I ended up buying the house. I put it under contract for purchase, and it's a wonderful deal.
I love hearing that.
That's why I'm so relaxed, because I got so many deals coming in now.
I know the feeling. You're right. You're right about that. Yeah. Control chaos. Perfect. So create, you know what? That's something that's work in progress for me for sure, David. Chad, I'm big on video making. There's no hesitation of being on camera or creating content. That's not the problem. But I can use the feedback on short and sweet, because some of my interviews have been longer because I did with probate attorneys. But when you say short and sweet topics, I had this book that I read, Executor's Handbook. What is short and sweet to you? What topics are eye-catching? What do you think?
Like when you interview an attorney, you're asking several questions over that, say, that hour, but then take that video and get someone to edit it in the Philippines or somewhere and break that up to 5-minute videos. And then over the next 6 months, you're posting those randomly on a schedule. So if you interview 5 attorneys, if you have 5 attorneys, break up those videos up into 30 videos that you're posting on a regular basis.
Okay, so you
That's
just
how you
schedule
do
them. Okay, got it. So just schedule them on your Facebook or your YouTube as well. And then, okay, campaign is.
No, you're go ahead and do a Zoom interview with Chad or somebody else and then just break it up yourself. Tell the editor to do an open and close and form your Zoom call with an attorney that way. Come up with 3 questions, but then when they start rambling on because they have a big ego, you have a good video out of it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, perfect.
Rosie, I know you haven't forgotten the challenge and the commitment you made. That might have been a year ago now. Long form testimonial videos. I see a lot of folks have their camera on, half don't, but show of hands, how many people are actually getting video testimonials from your successful transactions?
Every closing you get, have someone say something. Man,
I'm going to tell you, it's digital gold. It's better than Bitcoin. You heard it here. No, those go so far, guys. Like being able to, it's social proof. Like, so that some of your best video content is the stuff of the result of your highest service. So the attorneys that really appreciate the relationship with you, the financial advisors who you've sent people to, the clients that you've served, tell those stories. That's what's really differentiating in any business is really just authenticity. And the quicker somebody can authenticate you as a credible professional, the faster they're going to respond to your marketing or pick up the phone and give you that inbound call. And Rosie, you have a copy of the 10-week multimedia campaign that I laid out for Grant, right?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay.
I do.
So that's something too. Everything takes longer than you expect it might, and we get busy. But don't forget that you have that. That's something that we're still trying to proof out. Like I want to get through the whole series, but the idea for everyone else, Rosie's in a small group that I don't want to call her a guinea pig, but she's in a beta group where we test some things, mainly because she takes action the second you give her something. And that's kind of how she earned her way into that. But the idea there is to take one piece of content, like I laid out 10 really good topics, and it starts with it starts with a video. That video is uploaded to YouTube, embedded into a WordPress post, and then uploaded natively into Facebook. Into Facebook as well. From there, you trigger a postcard campaign with a thumbnail, the thumbnail of the video. You trigger a Facebook digital ad campaign, paid ad campaign, and you hit them in the email inbox. So you're one message coming in 3 different mediums, and we've actually stretched it from a 10-week to a 20-week. So every 2 weeks, they get a new message, a new topic. And it starts with knowing, like being empathetic about their mindset, where they are in week 1 versus where they probably are in week 5 and probably are in week 10 and week 20. And it's one of those things that we're working on developing, and I'm more of a than off. And it's just, like I said, things take longer than you expect. But Rosie, don't forget that we still have a lot of work to do there. And that's some of your best content ideas are sitting in that outline.
That's exactly right. And you're absolutely right. As we're growing, the resources, it's not a desire to not act upon. It's just how the timing and the priorities working. But you're absolutely right. I have it on top of my mind to execute that. I will definitely take into consideration on splitting the Zoom interviews we have done into small pieces and scheduling them to be released to keep it short and sweet. And I will make the videos and I will share it with everyone. And I would love everyone's feedback on how it's going.
And do you use a CRM? Yeah, so then put those into an action plan every 21 days once you have a conversation with somebody.
That's right.
If they're not ready to meet you yet, put those little snippets in an action plan.
Yeah.
That's what we do is we put our video testimonials. So I have a ton of them now. So every 3 weeks or so often, they get a video or a video link or a video or just a voice of a testimonial. So by the time their probate process is over with, they know my name without me calling them.
Wow. Okay, good. Awesome. I'll look into that. David, actually, by the way, one more thing I was going to share with everyone. If nobody has in a week, we would be closing on our listing that I actually converted just by the email campaign. And what I had done was, so I use Follow Boss to that extent, but I need to get to the point of the consistent, short and sweet, small clips because there are not enough of them. I only have 5. I need more. So the email letters or the postcard letters that you guys have in the All the Leads Mastermind. Everyone, if you have nothing else to do, I literally had my admin staff copy paste that into follow-up campaign, follow boss, and we just released it. And you would be surprised. I have some nurtures that haven't converted yet, and we're under contract with the listing on the market because of that. And what started happening, David, is maybe you can give me some ideas on it. While I was picking traction from the All the lead stuff, I actually picked up traction from my investor group and the database as well, because the videos we made, we blasted it everywhere. So I am taking a listing on the market tomorrow. It's a probate listing. They did all the work and they only heard my word that I understand probates, and they're giving me the listing for that reason from Waco.
Yeah.
The attorneys in Waco. That's a good one, right? And then investors will bring you all the probate deals. I am a big group. I'm attached to a very good group of investors in Texas. And that's where I'm learning all the sub-twos and stuff. And they're sending me their probate stuff. So I'm learning how to make noise. But I love what you said, position to be found. I must spend more time thinking. I love it.
Yeah. So I know Chad, I don't know if you want to mention other coaches, stop me if you want, but Kevin Ward teaches 5 steps to a relationship. It's connecting, positioning, inspire. Something, I'll get the other ones. Shit, I can't remember. It's connecting is the one, is crossing that bridge, positioning yourself, inspiring the hire, and then I'll think of the other 2. I can't. Dang it.
That's okay. I'm a big fan of Kevin Ward too. I studied a lot of his scripts initially as well. So yeah, thank you. I'll look into that.
Hey, Chad.
Yeah, Robert, I was coming to you next.
Okay. Hey, how much is an ISA like Rosie cost per month if you wanted to do? So you're getting about 100 leads a month, and to have her take care of it initially and schedule the appointments.
It depends on how involved you want to be and quite honestly, what result you want. If you want a seasoned caller with lots of experience, you can get those out of the Philippines for usually $7 to $9. If you want to start somebody and train them and pour more into them, you can get those folks for $1 an hour.
So Rosie, how much would we be looking at to get one of your?
So if you want a dollar amount per month and calculate the hours, Robert, you're looking at a bill of around $1,000 to $1,200 a month. Right, that's a full-time VA, and you're not getting the top talent. You're getting a $7 an hour talent. Does a pretty good job. I agree with Chad. I highly recommend that. Here's one thing I have to share with everyone. Please know these VAs are more than willing to do anything to do the job, but VAs require us to show up. They don't understand our country. They don't understand our culture. They don't understand the vocabulary sometimes. So while you're interviewing, if you can find someone who has called for US before, it really helps. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, initially, it might not be a bad idea for you guys to actually always have a proper CRM. I used Mojo for my VA to dial, and we pay for their dollars and stuff. Record the calls. I wish I knew about probate when I had no business in my career. I would have done this business so much differently. Now that I am in the middle of everything, the struggle I have is that I would love to hear more and more calls. So when your VAs are calling, listen to the recording and analyze what are they saying, and go back and all the feedback and trainings we have from All the Lead Mastermind, tweak the script. If she's not getting or he's not getting a result, we need to either tweak the script or tweak the list. When they dial, how to dial and how often to dial. But the main power is in follow-up. I think I answered more than the question.
Like your biggest challenge there is the cultural difference in the person on the phone. Like a lot of times working with offshore VAs, they apologize all over themselves. And they don't come on to the call with authority. They come with, and we talk about serving a lot, like we come with a servant's mindset, but we come at it strong with conviction. And there, a lot of times it's all like, I'm sorry to bother you. Do you have a few minutes? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood that. And there's too many sorries and they're not assertive enough. So you've got to, it requires leadership to get a good result out of an offshore VA. You need to be good on the phones and good at leading them through that. And it takes some cultivation. Like it's rare that you just grab a VA and start being with success right off the bat in that price range. Now, the other thing that I want to mention, if you haven't heard us talk about it, we have just a kind of a partnership. We don't have it's not an affiliate relationship, but we support VoiceLogic. And they have a call center that's in Mississauga, Ontario. So it's very neutral, if any accents. They don't even drop the A here and there. But they offer call center services. So Kat, if you can drop that link, you can go to voicelogic.com/, I think Probate Mastery, but Kat will drop the link in the chat. So you can check out their services. They offer voicemail courier. They don't really do ringless voicemail anymore because it's just asking to be pinched. But they offer outbound services. And I'll be honest, like I talked to Steve Lindo, the owner of that company yesterday. In some markets, we convert 7-8%. And in others, we're still getting skunked. And I think Erik, didn't you get an appointment off of Lindo's call center? Wasn't it you? You're muted, Erik, if you think we hear you.
Yes, I did get 4 appointments from Steve doing our first round of calls.
And how many were on that original list?
There was the first one that I sent him was about 700, and they haven't even worked through them all yet. So that was just their first round of calls.
So almost 2%, right?
Yes.
No, not quite. Anyways, but 4 out of 700, would you have made those 700 calls?
Never.
So that's 4 that you didn't have. And what was the cost on it?
So I just purchased a round of 30 hours, which I think was like $1,000.
Okay.
It's good.
And have you been on all 4 appointments?
I have not yet. No.
Okay.
I've done phone conversations with them. I've went on 2 appointments so far, going on one on Friday, one on Saturday.
Just a gut feel. How many deals are you going to get out of those 4 conversations?
I think I will eventually convert all of them over to listing referrals. And then I do believe that I will buy the property I'm meeting with on Saturday. It's pretty beat down. I've driven by it. It's really bad.
Good deal.
I'll let you guys know the results of that next week.
You could buy all 4 of them.
And more importantly than that, just the amount of inbound, it's really just helped me, not to hijack the conversation, but it's really helped me find my voice. And many of the people have already sold their properties, but in spending that time on the phone with them, now that they've gotten past the initial, we've got it covered, our attorney's taking care of it, they're realizing that their attorneys aren't handling anything. So now what I'm using a lot of those conversations that don't have any real estate is just to educate them further in the process, refer them anything they might need, and then just see if they'll give me like a Google business listing review or a review on my Facebook page, something like that. So we're still trying to turn it into a positive conversation.
I looked over at some questions. So Chris Robinson asked, who has a good YouTube channel that we could model? I would say you need to find Rosie's channel. Rosie has done a fantastic job with video, and I know she's hard on herself and says she doesn't do enough, but she's done more than most. And then Grant Cox, Grant's not here today, but Grant is Nova Life Transitions. So in Northern Virginia. So Nova Life Transitions, I think, is the name of his YouTube channel. Grant has done a fantastic job at taking, just like Rosie, there's a reason he's in that little beta group too, because you give him an idea and it's in play before the sun sets that day. He started on it. So if you guys want to watch what they're doing, that'll give you some inspiration. You'll get a sneak peek into what might proof out and either be available to you as a step-by-step training or course, or we may just do it for you. I think that probably a done for you, like where we actually implement that campaign for you, might make the most sense, just because of the complexity of the multimedia and the timing of it. So we may actually, prove it out and then offer it to you. But you'll see good examples and some folks that like good cameras, good performances, like speaking without scripts. And Grant and Rosie are both doing really well with that. Fed, this isn't a Zoom backdrop, brother. This is West Virginia. You missed the beginning of the call. So there's one cell phone tower in the entire county, and it's right over there. So I was on the farm, and I couldn't even use freaking Slack this morning. I'm like, hell with it. I'm going to town.
That's cool.
Good.
Hey, just real quick, the 5 things I pulled them up is connecting with the people. So you got to find a way to connect them, and then positioning. You're always positioning yourself with those videos or anything you're doing on the internet. And then you want to inspire the hire when you talk to them. You want to be inspiring in your voice, and then deliver the results that you say. And then you leverage that success by testimonial videos or Google reviews. So that's the 5 things you want to do, Rosie.
Yeah. Thanks, David. And Justin said, for those of us that have written testimonials only, is it disingenuous to have a voice actor turn those into audios or videos? Absolutely not. Like ideally, we want to capture all testimonials in video because we can always transcribe those. We can always strip the audio out. So we get the best of the best media that we can with a video testimonial. But if you already have written testimonials, feel free to pull that into a video and do voiceover or just do video in text and make a video testimonial out of it and grab a picture of them. Or sometimes call them back and be like, hey, I really wish when I saw you at the closing table, we would have done this. Can I drop by and just grab a couple minutes of your time and try to get back out there and get the video. But if you can't, absolutely, don't be afraid to do voiceover. Don't be afraid to make videos. Just do just some soft music in the background and the text slowly coming in where you can read it. Whatever you can do with those testimonials, get them in as many places as you can.
You guys want to see an example of a good one?
Yeah, David.
And I record all inbound phone calls, so I was lucky to get a phone call from one lady that left me we talked, but here's an example of just throwing your iPhone up and getting recording. No special gear at all.
The link and share and just drop it in chat. That way everybody can watch it.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. All right. Let me get back. So let me jump back to our chat and see. So we got Justin. Someone said, is David and Rosie using email and messaging to send videos? Not all the leads have email or phone number. Would you send letters or postcards? Just on email. You got to figure if you're a fantastic email marketer, you're going to have 20% open rates. If you're running in the top of the pack, you might reach 50% open rate. So you still need to make those calls. Email is a supplement, not a primary prospect. And the emails that we do our best, all the leads does the best to get the best quality email, but it's 65% of them have email. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but I have 19. So the chance that it's their primary inbox that they check every 5 minutes, it's not a guarantee. So don't put too much weight into email marketing. Even though we hear these success stories, the point I want to make is it's not your primary marketing, it's a supplement. Yeah, Rosie, this is a special place. There's a reason I could be anywhere in the world. I would come back. All right, David,
Yeah, I don't know how to pull you back up. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry, guys.
Chad, real quick,
ahead,
I missed the beginning portion of it. Did David say he has ISAs too, David, or it's just marketing for you by video?
No, he evolved past that. When we first met, he had a whole team of, and now he just sits in his underwear in the house that he's never going to finish remodeling. And every once in a while, he makes a phone call.
Okay, if I ask you a few questions, maybe I think we all can probably have similar questions in our growing phases. Chad, is it okay if I ask some questions? Okay, number one, when you originally started probate, when did you make a decision, or did you always knew that you were going the investor route or the realtor route? Which one became more heavy, or where were your inclination and how did you know that?
Is this for me? You just recognize the opportunity that you have. Your probate deals you have an opportunity that they just want to get rid of something. They really don't want to hire a listing agent. And I know it's a different way of thinking because we have a duty to serve people as realtors, but if they don't want to hire a realtor, what do? Do you walk away? I got to the point where I was offering them $10,000 to help them fix their house up so they got more money. But it only took one person telling me that they were mad because I spent too much money on a house that needed it. But at closing, they're like, man, you spent $12,000 and I made an extra 40. They didn't say that part. So after that, I was just like, I'm just going to buy these houses. Screw them. If there's an opportunity for me to write a contract, I'm going to buy it.
Wow. Okay. So when you decided, first of all, thank you so much for sharing it. It gives people like me permission easily to make a switch quicker.
Hey, Rosie, is it cool if I jump in to follow up on one of you on that question? Hey, Dave, do you keep track of the number of people that are more open to off-market sale as opposed to listing it for them? Because I'm in the same position as you. I'm licensed, but I prefer to acquire them off-market. And I'm guessing it will be highly dependent on the type of area that you're in. But just out of curiosity, are you seeing people more open to doing off-market deals? Or is it too general of a question?
They want an easy way out. And if you give them a 5 to 10 day close with a cash offer, it's really hard for them to turn that down.
In my experience in doing this in my market and then coaching a lot of others, you're probably like it's 80-20. So you're at Pareto's principle. So 20% of your opportunities will have a level of motivation or a reason that they have a high level of motivation that they just want done. And what you'll learn is the more errors there are, the more likely you are to buy that at a discount because they have less personally in the distribution. It's a smaller number. So if you have one error and $1 million property, it's unlikely you're going to wholesale. You're going to get that one at 60 cents on the dollar. When you have 9 or 10 heirs on a $100,000 house, they're like, whatever. It's a $10,000 decision. Just get this damn thing done. So you'll learn like more heirs increases the likelihood of a wholesale. Property condition increases the likelihood of a wholesale. Proximity like the beneficiary's proximity to the asset increases the likelihood. The further away they are, the more likely they are to sell at a discounted price, because it's just a challenge, right? Like they have to put life on hold and go there. And you'll start to learn, but in my experience and doing this for almost a decade now, it's Pareto's principle. You've got 20% will dump it and move on, and they'll give you a glowing testimonial and say that you actually served them as a fiduciary, even though your fellow realtors might say you're a damn crook and you stole the house from the family. We don't care about that. We know that we offer them options, and they chose the option that was right for them. So I don't like, I've bought these as little as one. I think probably the deepest discount I ever bought was $110,000 as is, and I paid 13 because it had so much garbage and human waste in it. I knew the floors and the joists had to be rotted out. The trash actually saved the property, but he was thrilled to do a video testimony because he came over to one of the flips I was doing, complimented my work. And he's, man, I don't even care about the price. I really just want you to take that house. And we rode over there, and within minutes we had a deal. And so you'll find those like where they're disgusted about the property condition so anyway, that's my read on it. Like you can expect for every 100 leads, 20 of them are going to dump for every 100 leads with real estate, 20 of them will dump that real estate at a pretty steep discount. The other 80 will drag along from 3 days to 3 years to actually sell it as is value or retail value.
Chad,
Super insightful. Thank you.
hey, Chad, as a realtor, do you have to run it through your brokerage?
No, and this is something that I think Elle was asking about last week. For me, and this is another one of the things I really want to get around to teaching, just to show you guys how to properly protect your assets. But my advice is, if you have a licensed brokerage or salesperson, that can stay a sole proprietorship because you have E&O insurance. But if you're going to provide options that include non-brokerage, non-agency relationships, you should have a separate LLC. And personally, I choose a single member LLC taxed as an S Corp. So I get the legal protections of an LLC and the IRS benefits of having an S Corp designation, which only benefits you like above 140 in revenue. But I would recommend that you set up an LLC, make that your investment vehicle, separate bank accounts, separate credit cards, and then have an umbrella policy for insurance in case someone ever does point a finger at you. I wouldn't buy business liability insurance. I buy a personal umbrella, because if you buy business liability insurance for an investment LLC, they want $15,000 a year. And so you're better off just, add an extra layer with a personal umbrella, wrap it in with your homeowners and your car insurance. And that way, if anyone ever gets through your corporate veil, then you've got at least another layer. But that's how I would structure it if I were commingling of funds. Don't ever use your investment company credit for your realtor company, because if you ever were to find yourself in a position where you're being accused of wrongdoing and you're innocent, you want to be able to clearly say, here's the books for this company, here's the books for this company. Everything's clearly delineated. That's my advice on the best structure. I started that way from the beginning, and it's served me well. And John Fraker may have some advice. He's an attorney in California. John, if you disagree with anything, please.
What broker are you with? That's going to be your chief question. So like I'm with Keller Williams, and if it's in California, then they're going to want to know about it or at least clear it out. That's just their deal. If you're elsewhere,
John, what are the consequences if you have a privately owned investment company that's not, and it is separated? Is it just the broker wouldn't be happy, or is there something in your agreement with KW where they actually end that, they kick you out of the brokerage?
Again, that would be between you and your broker and the contract that you guys have. Like my broker gave me hassle for doing law stuff, meeting my estate planning clients in the building. Like I had to go, even though it was convenient not to have to bounce back and forth between two different offices. They got really uptight about that. I'm like, okay, but you're just wasting my time on the freeway going back and forth as opposed to just meeting them all in one place. But yeah, so again, it's going to be unique to the broker. If you're a realtor and you're under somebody else's brokerage, they basically control more or less everything that you do. Even if it's an outside business, you have to have clearance on that, and you'd want to at least get clearance on that. If you're doing something out of the state that you're licensed in, I would still, if you're, put it this way, how important is your brokerage relationship with you, to you? In other words, You may say, I'm not making enough money with you guys to justify giving up this other revenue stream. But if you're getting 95% of your paycheck through your brokerage and they have a problem with it, that's obviously a bigger deal. So it comes down to your individual situation and where you're at with your brokerage and what they'd want to say about it. Some just don't care.
Be clear, like just before we move on, Rosie. So when you say you clear it by your broker, are you talking about each and every deal, or you clear your overall business strategy and say, I'm going to be doing these types of deals? Is it a blanket agreement or?
Yeah, at a minimum, you want at least that with your brokerage.
Yeah.
If you're doing in the same state that you're a licensed agent, and then any transaction that you clear as a wholesaler or investor or for yourself, where you're an agent in that state, you want to have the person selling you the property sign about 50 CYAs saying that you're not acting as their fiduciary. That's the whole point. A realtor is a fiduciary. And guess what? When I took my real estate license in 2015, the test, I almost fell out of my chair when I read that realtors were fiduciaries. It's the only part of the home study course or whatever that I actually remembered, because it was like, that doesn't even apply to the vast majority of financial advisors aren't fiduciaries.
Yeah,
that will work against you really quickly if you don't get them to sign off and be like, this guy is not acting as a fiduciary. There's no brokerage relationship. Basically, I'm not acting in your best interest. I'm here to make a profit. If I'm buying this at 30 and I turn around and sell it tomorrow at 70, are they going to care about it? You know, how difficult can they make your life?
And that's the best point of all this is when you're honest with people on appointments,
right.
You have 99% chance of getting something signed with that person right there, right then. So just to give you guys an example, I got an appointment from a realtor in Virginia. Thanks, Virginia, this week. He gave me referrals that, hey, my aunt, my grandfather died, blah, blah, blah. It's a $300,000 house. Easy, $300,000 house. They got an appraisal for $210 because of the condition. I went there and told them, hey, I could sell this all day long for $260, $275 fixed up. And I broke down exactly what I'm going to do to the house to fix it up. And we got down to a $160,000 number. All right, we got down to 170, and I told them it's 45 days if we list it. They're probably going to knock you down even more because of the condition. It was bad. Would you accept 157? They said, let me think about it. Let me go talk to one of the heirs. It took 24 hours. They came back with 160. On a $300,000 house, I'm buying it for a little over 50%. It broke the numbers down to them.
Yeah.
And I was honest with them.
And
this is what you get as a realtor. This is what you get if I buy the house.
That's right. I have something to add in here. So I actually closed on a property last week. It's a very small deal, but I love these cute little deals. It was a $60,000 home that a homeowner has not seen in 2 years. She has been away and in Kentucky and doesn't know anything, doesn't want to turn on utilities. She's frantic and she doesn't want to make a payment for May. If the house was fixed up and the 1.5 bath is converted into 2 full bath, the value goes all the way to 155. I actually personally did a full CMA with her, showed her all the comps. And at the end, I just asked her, if I make you the offer that you are willing to sell to the contractor, would you be willing to do it? She said yes. On our contract, we wrote down that the buyer is a licensed realtor in Texas. In the special provisions, we wrote down that the seller is not represented by any legal representation for listing or buyer. And we wrote down in there, and please know, if we are transparent, people sign off on it. Seller agrees to sell the property below market value in as-is condition, considering the repairs. When we are that transparent, I don't know why somebody would come after us. And I agree, I do have my separate LLC that I buy properties under, and my brokerage has no problem with it. And I am with Keller Williams as well. And so if we do business with full transparency, even normal listings can become great buyers, because not everyone is looking for the highest dollar. Sometimes people's convenience is money to them than extra few $1,000s on the market. And I have come to learn after 8 years in real estate. So please feel confident to do your due diligence and make an offer.
That's right.
Yeah, I was actually wanted to just make sure I understood something correctly, but I think Rosie just touched on it. So did I understand correctly that you were saying that if I already have an LLC that I'm being paid through for my real estate business as an agent, did I understand correctly that it's best if I open a second separate LLC?
Absolutely. You don't want to commingle activity.
Okay.
Like when you do entity structuring and asset protection, start in the courtroom and work backwards. Like imagine you're in that situation where you have been sued for something you didn't do wrong, and you have that's your burden of proof. So think about like how clear of a ruling it would be if you said, okay, here's the checkbook, here's the P&L, the balance sheet, the articles, all the LLC docs for this, and here's the same thing for my brokerage entity. And it's a closed case, right? Like you can easily defend yourself. I don't think you're doing anything wrong, but if you're commingling, that makes that argument it's a little more of a gray area, right? There's
Okay.
a lot more to argue about. So just make it clear, black and white. It's maybe a few extra $100 a year to maintain that other LLC, but it's worth it as insurance.
So that's for wholesaling and assigning, you would use that.
Anything. So
Wow.
you have to decide, but maybe that is a holding company as well as wholesaling. So you generate cash through wholesaling, but when you hold an asset, that becomes a holding company. And my advice is roll the assets in the land trust that's property of the LLC. So you have a layer of anonymity and even more protection if somebody comes looking for your assets.
Okay. And then as far as assigning something, how long would you say, give or take, and I know it's different for everything, but just a rough estimate that it would take to, I don't even want to use the word convert a client into a wholesale. So long story short, I had the conversation with someone who may want to wholesale, but I came as a realtor and then presented them options, either regular route as real estate or investor can buy the asset from you quickly and all that stuff. And from there, it turned into one of the three heirs was extremely aggressive. And then they said, all right, we're going to talk about it. I keep following up with them. And I asked the PR, if you had it your way, what would you do? And she said, I would sell it right away cash for the offer that your investor made. But it looks like they have to make a decision. So I gave them all options, literally all options, either standard brokerage, sale, going through an investor, or keeping the asset and leasing it if they need to. I'm just trying to figure out, is it normal that it's been about 3 weeks? I'm still in front of them, but I feel like that's kind of long.
You're just waiting for somebody to take your spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Time kills all deals.
How much are their property taxes?
1 point, right around 1.25%.
So
Right.
4,000.
Figure out the dollar amount.
$12,000.
Figure
Yeah.
out the dollar amount of the holding cost, the insurance, the property taxes, the utilities, the lawn care, whatever that is. And even if you have to estimate it, look at homes in the neighborhood and call them back and reconnect and say, listen, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Most families aren't, because you have so much to think about. Finance is not the thing that's front of mind. But
Okay.
you're losing $140 a week on this property, or whatever that is, $67 a day.
Mhm.
And create a little urgency with the finance side of this. And you told me you wanted cash every day. We're taking $67 off of that. You are. I'm not. That's
Yeah.
an expense of the estate. So the beneficiaries in your family are getting $67 a day less. My price hasn't changed. Here's a purchase agreement and here's a blue pen. Let's do this. But you're waiting for someone to take that deal. They've already told you what they want. Now what they need, you need to give them what they need, and that's leadership.
Okay.
But make them comfortable. Let them know that you're honest and you have integrity, and you're going to lead them through this and get it done. But quit the damn procrastinating, because they are losing money on a daily basis.
Ray, if you want to split the deal, I'll call him for you. Just kidding.
If we go thirds, I'll come behind him and clean up his mess.
Yeah,
Bam.
because I'm sloppy, but I get things done.
I'm calling you, by the way, Dave. I don't know if you
What's-
did already. The guy put you in touch with by email.
I've reached out to him and nothing there yet. But
I'm seeing him in a couple of days, so I'll make sure he reaches out.
cool, man.
Cool. Thanks, Ted. Next up, we have Mira.
Hi. So I just wanted to piggyback on what Rosie had said regarding the letter, getting something in writing that says if you started a conversation as a realtor with a prospective seller, but then decided to purchase the property yourself. I'm in New Jersey, and everything is legal here in terms of you just have to think legal for everything. My intention wasn't to purchase this property from the client. It was to help her out. One parent died from COVID. The other one had dementia, living in a assisted living community. And she had the power of attorney and she just needed help. So I reached out to her, and I hadn't seen the property until a couple of months later, when the intention was always to put it up for sale. I thought it was in decent condition, but when I went and saw it, it was just trash. So I said to her, look, if you go to an investor, you're not going to get much. I'm going to give you a little bit more than an investor. And I offered her a dollar figure and she jumped on it. So obviously I offered too much. But the thing is, I was helping out and it was my first time trying to do a flip. The point is that I talked to my attorney, I talked to my broker. My attorney said, talk to your broker. It's really your broker's rules as to whether you can purchase this property and what do you need to disclose? Because in reality, I was acting as her realtor first. So we just wrote up another letter and all the attorneys were fine with it just to protect me. But I also always, every property I purchase, I create a new LLC. So I don't have one LLC and all these sub LLCs. I just create a new one specific to that property. Now, do you recommend that, or do you recommend?
That can get costly and complex. I would recommend a similar structure as a series LLC. So you can have your parent and then have a series of smaller LLCs. And a lot of people they'll build up to 3 to 5 properties in each of the series. So you're basically compartmentalizing the risk. So if you were to be sued from one of your series holding companies, that damage is likely to be contained within that cell, so to speak. But having one for every single property, you can never be like, if you plan on building wealth and having tenants, then you can never be too careful. Like it's asset protection, right? If the cost is not eating you alive and if the maintenance isn't, it's certainly a safe way to do it. But you could be overly cautious with having one per. The other thing, Mira, I'll go back to, one of the things I do is I'll have an LLC and then the actual title to the property is in a land trust. So the land trust doesn't give you the legal protection of an LLC, but it gives you anonymity. So if an attorney's looking for someone to sue, they're looking for somebody with assets. Otherwise, they're wasting their time. So if a tenant tries to pick something with you and sue you, if the attorney goes looking for assets and it's 123 Walnut Street, 456 Francis Avenue land trust, there's no tie back to your name or your LLC name. So that can be a much more affordable way to get anonymity, and then you still have the strength of the LLC from a legal protection, a legal standpoint. So that's how I've structured my stuff. As a holding company, as an LLC taxed as an S corp, with a series of land trusts, one for each property, each asset.
Okay, yeah, mine are all single member, but I'll have to talk to the attorney about that.
Yeah. And it's from a tax standpoint, having single member LLCs, it's all going to flow through on your Schedule C anyway. So it's not, but right. If you ever do get partners, that's when multiple LLCs can get really costly, when you're not single member, or if it's 2 members and not a spouse, then you have to start filing tax returns for each of those, and it can really add up then.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, guys, anybody else have anything they want to cover today? Any questions? Lots of participation today. Thank you guys for that. It's always more fun when everyone participates. Anybody have anything, any hands up, any questions, comments, statements? All right, we'll wrap it up.
This is Robert. I've got a question for David. I wanted to get a copy of that pamphlet you sent out, and you sent me a link, but it went nowhere. It's a PayPal thing. Could you resend that to me, please, David?
Who is this again? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I talked to you about a week or so ago, and wanted to get it, but I tried to do the link that you had provided, and it just didn't work for me.
Okay, no problem, man.
Okay.
This is Chad's coaching, but yeah.
Thanks,
all right, guys.
I appreciate the things.
Yeah. We'll talk. Thanks.
Well, everybody, have a good week. If you need anything, as always, we're at support@magnumopusproject.com. We'll get you on the phone with the right person. Thanks so much for everybody who participated, and we'll see you next week. Have a great day.
Thanks.